Today in the audio hotline, we have the Maono AU-HD300T. Yeah, you could say it's a pretty long name. But first off, I do want to say there is going to be a pretty sweet comparison in this video. It's going to be between a few microphones that if you're looking into this microphone, you probably have looked into those microphones also, or maybe those microphones led you here. I'll put the names of the microphones that are going to be in the comparison up on the screen right now because sometimes I decide to put extra microphones in, so it's better if I just do that rather than name them. We're going to go into a lot of details about this microphone here in a minute, but first thing, let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the audio hotline, and as I said before, this is the Maono AU-HD300T. I'll probably just call it the HD300 because it's so much easier. And just so you know, I tend to rant on occasion, and if you don't want to listen to my rambles, timestamps down below. If you decide you want to check this microphone out for yourself, right now on Amazon, it's $64.99. A couple real quick things to go over about this microphone is that it is capable of both USB and XLR. So right now I'm actually recording simultaneously into a MacBook Pro and then also into a RODECASTER Pro. But this microphone being able to utilize both XLR and USB is such a big selling point. And as I mentioned before, the microphones that are going to be compared to this, those microphones are also capable of USB and XLR. When this one came out a while ago and when other microphones similar to this have came out, I've wanted them to, kind of step up the specs a little bit. Even just 24-bit at 48 kilohertz. But instead, Maono didn't really break the mold. They just kind of stuck with the same thing with this microphone. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad at all. And in fact, I already know it's not bad. And because I know it's not bad already, I may have propositioned Maono a little bit. That sounds sexual. What I did was I got an extra unit. What are you going to do with the same two microphones, dumbass? I don't know, maybe give one away. So if you want to win this, just comment down below. You do have to live in the United States. I'll randomly pick a winner, pick my butt, pick my nose in that order, and let you know that you won. Like I said, just comment down below that you want to win one, and you are entered. That's it. They are not paying me for a review. They are not paying me to say anything in particular. They just sent me the microphone, said, hey, you do you, boo. And I was like, so yeah, that's what happened. Well, let's go ahead and talk about what comes with this $65 microphone when you purchase it. If you decide to purchase the Maono AU-HD300T, it will come with an XLR cable. It will come with a USB cable that is USB-C to USB-A. It will come with a pop filter. You do have to attach the pop filter to a metal rod that is included. It comes with what looks like is a weird microphone clip, but it's actually a shock mount. This also includes a desktop microphone stand, as well as the microphone itself, the HD300. Now, when it comes to everything that's included in this package, I feel like it all feels really solid. Now, I'm not usually the biggest fan of putting your microphone on your desk, but sometimes you have to do it, and in this case, this stand is actually really nice. But if you're like me and you move your hands around like a friggin' lunatic, sometimes you can, hit the desk and get some noise up into the microphone. But that's where the shock mount comes in handy. So the mic stand and shock mount together actually work pretty well. And the microphone build itself feels really good, but overall I'm actually pretty happy with the accessories and the build quality, especially for the $65 price. But now that we've talked about what comes with this microphone, now let's go ahead and talk about what comes on the microphone. Let's go ahead and talk about some features. The Maono AU-HD300T comes with a volume increase and decrease button on the top of the microphone. This allows you to adjust your headphone volume. There is in fact an on and off switch, and right next to that there is an indicator light. That indicator light will be on when you're using it as a USB microphone and when the switch is not in the off position. On the bottom of this microphone there is in fact a spot for your USB-C cable, your XLR cable, and also a place to plug in headphones. The headphone jack is in fact 3.5 millimeters. The features on this microphone are pretty solid. I am extremely happy that this came with a USB-C connection on the bottom of the microphone. However, I would have loved for it to come with a USB-C to USB-C cable, but it's not the biggest deal. I'm just happy that it's not like a micro or mini USB connection on the bottom of the microphone. I cannot tell you how many of those cables I broke in my life. The buttons are pretty clicky, which is fun. I will say the on and off switch feels a little cheap, but it does have this cute little blue LED light when it's on and the microphone's turned on. And I love an indication light. And I really do love the fact that you can simultaneously record USB-C and XLR. That's just awesome. But now that we've talked about what comes with this microphone, what comes on this microphone, now let's go ahead and talk about what comes in the microphone. Let's go ahead and nerd out with some specs. The Maono AU-HD300T is a dynamic cardioid microphone with a frequency response of 40 Hz to 17 kHz. This has a max bit depth of 16-bit and a sample rate of either 44.1 or 48 kHz. This is compatible with both Mac OS and Windows OS using USB 2.0. Now looking at the frequency response graph, there are some cuts and dips throughout it. And of course there's a little bit of a boost in the high end. Now when looking at the polar pattern graph, it gets a little interesting. Now a regular cardioid polar pattern looks something like this. A lot of people say it looks like a heart. And now a supercardioid polar pattern looks something like this. Now which one do you feel like the Maono looks more like? It is kind of interesting they do have it labeled as a cardioid microphone, but we'll do some polar pattern tests here shortly. Now with the specs, I will say the weirdest part of it all was what I just talked about with the polar pattern. I'm a little confused by that, but it's not the biggest deal. We'll do like a white noise test here shortly and a keyboard test and kind of, see what happens. And speaking of tests, now that we've gone through all the other stuff, let's go ahead and do that. Now, as I do every time, I'm going to label what test I'm doing down in the lower third, as well as whatever information you need to know about that test. Now let's go ahead and kick it off with a proximity effect test. When you move the pop filter all the way up and get really close to this microphone, here's how it's going to sound. Now if you take the pop filter off, get really close to this microphone and give it a little sniff, it kind of smells like a Halloween store. Now a quick warning, this next part will get a little bit loud. Let's go ahead and do some plosives. Peter Parker picked a patch of pickled peanuts. 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 Now, if you're a YouTuber that doesn't like the microphone and the camera shot, but you want to get this for a podcast and you're like, hey, I may as well use this for my videos too, and I'll just put it further away so you can't see it. Well, here's how it's going to sound. Now, if you're going to be typing directly behind this microphone with some MX Cherry Blues or something equally as clicky, here's how it's going to sound. Now, if we angle the keyboard to the microphone a little bit like we would with a supercardioid polar pattern, here's how it sounds. Now to test this polar pattern even further, let's go ahead and do a white noise test. Now, if you were planning on using this microphone for a podcast where you're going to do a little bit of EQ, maybe some compression and de-essing, here is how it could sound. And now here is how it would sound with the exact same post-processing, but without the pop filter. And now let's go ahead and do a real quick blind comparison. As I'm doing the comparison, I'll just say microphone 1, microphone 2, blah, 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 blah. Now I will put all of the microphones that are being used in the comparison up on the screen, but I won't tell you which ones until after. Now let's go ahead and kick this comparison off. Here is the sound of microphone number 1. It is going into the Zoom H6 at 50% gain. No post-processing on any of these microphones, no pop filters, no windscreens, nothing like that, just raw, baby. And here is the sound of microphone number 2 in this blind comparison. I did have to bump up the gain just a little bit. I'm at about 56% now, but here's the sound of microphone number 2. Now we have microphone number 3 in this comparison. Once again, no pop filters, no windscreens, just raw audio going into the Zoom H6. And here is how microphone number 3 sounds. Now here is the sound of microphone number 4 in the comparison. It is going into the Zoom H6 at 50% gain. Now here is the sound of the last microphone, microphone number 5 in this blind comparison. Once again, no pop filters, no windscreens, nothing like that. And it is set at 52% gain in the Zoom H6. And one more time, here is the sound of microphone number 1 in this 5 microphone comparison. And once again, here's the sound of microphone number 3 in this blind comparison. I actually turned the gain down ever so slightly for this microphone. It's at about 48%. Once again, here is the sound of microphone number 5 in this blind comparison at 52% gain. And once again, here's the sound of microphone number 2 in this blind comparison. Once again, here is the sound of microphone number 4. No pop filters, no windscreens, nothing like that, just raw audio. And one final time, here's the sound of microphone number 1. And one final test, here is the sound of microphone number 2. And one final test, here is microphone number 3 at 48% gain. And one final test, here is the sound of microphone number 4 in this blind comparison. Now, one final time, here is the sound of microphone number 5. Well, now that we've tested all of the microphones out in that comparison, all 5 microphones, now I'm going to go ahead and let you know which microphones were which. If you want to comment down below, now's the time to do it. Do a quick pause on the video just so I don't spoil anything for you. Microphone number 1 was the Samson Q2U. Microphone number 2 was the original, now discontinued Audio-Technica ATR2100. And here is microphone number 3, the Maono AU-HD300. Microphone number 4, the ATR2100X from Audio-Technica. Microphone number 5 was the Audio-Technica AT2005USB. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, we went through the specs, we tested it out, we did a comparison, we did all of the things. Now we can go ahead and get to my review of the Maono AU-HD300T. Now with all the microphones that were used in the comparison, they were all roughly $60 to $100. The $100 microphone being the ATR2100X, the new one. The ATR2100X is definitely the microphone that has the best specifications. I believe while using it as a USB microphone, you can get 24-bit up to 192 kilohertz, and all the other microphones are capped at 16-bit at 48 kilohertz. So there's definitely an advantage to that, but actually listening to the ATR2100X next to these other microphones, it didn't stand out as higher quality with all of these microphones. None of them are garbage. They are all solid microphones. They're all very similar in their price and their abilities, minus the ATR2100X being a little bit more expensive and being capable of a little bit more specs, but maybe being a little overpriced. They all sound a little bit different, and some people will sound better on certain mics and others on different mics. But I'm just going to cop out and just say whichever one you liked in the comparison is the one you should get. My opinion doesn't matter in this case because a lot of these are pretty similar in their price and what they are capable of. So just go with what's going to work best for your recording needs. I'm going to handhold this. If you want to handhold this, this is the only test we haven't done. When it comes to the sound of the Maono, I feel like some of the other microphones have a little bit more of a mid presence. Now, I tend to like when the low mids are a little bit more, controlled. I do wish that they would have came out with something that was in that, $65 to $75 price range that has 24-bit, that at least does something new, at least does something different. It didn't do that. I believe this came out 2 to 3 years after the Q2U. And also, I was just doing a little research, and it said that the Audio-Technica ATR2100 was released in 2011, 10 years ago. Why doesn't this microphone record at a higher bit depth and sample rate? Basically 9 years. But to a lot of people, I don't think it matters too much. But the fact that this is just another offering that does offer a different sound compared to the Q2U and the ATR2100, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's nice. I think it's a good microphone for people who want a podcast. A lot of people who are just starting out on a podcast don't have a treated room or anything like that, and this is going to reject some of those room issues more than a microphone like the Blue Yeti. This isn't really a musician's microphone. If you're just trying to put a recording together for your other bandmates or for just some small level production, it'd be fine. Now, as I said before, the build quality of this microphone is great. The accessories that come with it are great. I like the accessories of this microphone more than I like the accessories of the ATR2100 or the Q2U. The stand and the shock mount and the pop filter are all actually usable. I do feel like the on and off switch on this microphone feels a little cheap. The other slight complaint that I do have is when it comes to gain in this microphone. When you actually go in and adjust your gain, there's not a whole lot of gain to play with. And when I was recording USB, I was at like 80%. Usually with other microphones, I don't have to go that high. So the preamp is definitely weak in here. But even though I have these complaints, we got to be realistic about it. This is a $65 microphone. Overall, I think this microphone is solid. I think it's a nice option compared to the ATR2100 and Q2U. However, the fact that those microphones came out a while ago and stuff, I just don't understand why there isn't more to this. I can appreciate that they came out with a microphone that sounds a little bit different at a competitive price, but I just can't wrap my head around the fact that this doesn't have a little bit more to offer. And quite honestly, that's kind of what lowers my grade a little bit for this microphone, is the frustration surrounding the fact that they could have and should have done more when it came to specs. But I can't hate on it too much because I do love me a good XLR USB mic. So the grade that I give to the microphone with an insanely long name, the Maono AU-HD300T, is a B-. When I say a B-, I'm basically just saying this product is absolutely worth the money. But it isn't perfect, but it will work well for a lot of people. Thank you all for watching this review of the Maono AU-HD300T. I hope that it helped you out, helped you decide whether you should get one of these or not, but most of all, I hope you had fun. And speaking of deciding whether you should get one of these or not, you could also be given one of these. Remember, I'm doing a giveaway of one of these microphones. Comment down below if you want to win. But a big thank you to everyone that subscribes to this channel, and an even bigger thank you to everyone that's a member of this channel. I really appreciate the support from all of you. And also a thank you to Maono for sending me this microphone to review, as well as sending a microphone that I can give away to you guys. And once again, thank you all for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.